Well, no, but also yes. Cyno, like pretty much every character, can be good in the right teams and scenarios. We'll get into those teams and scenarios in a little bit. I'm mainly talking about Cyno today because he is the current rate up banner along with Ayato and the weapons, which we will also touch on briefly. I personally think he's a really fun character, but does have some pretty obvious drawbacks. I got my Cyno to C2. That's one of my higher constellation heroes because I really like him and his playstyle, and for pretty much everything he is good enough. The main issue is what always comes down to opportunity cost. If I could go back in time and trade these 3 Cynos for like 3 Furina constellations to get her up to C5 or very close to C6, hell yeah, I would do it. Same for like Nuvalet. I would much rather have a C4 Nuvalet than a C2 Cyno, if I'm perfectly honest. So I would say his biggest issue is that once you do his burst, you're kind of locked into using him on field for a long time. And in most teams that doesn't really work out too well. You need to swap to others, refresh buffs, but if you swap out a Cyno, his burst ends. The other issue I feel like isn't that big of a deal, but it's still something to consider. In burst mode, he does gain resistance to interruption, but it's not very much. And if you're not super careful, he will still get bounced around everywhere. If you want to use him, it is imperative you have Fischl. Fischl is an incredible unit on her own, but Cyno really likes having Fischl as a teammate. You don't need her to be at C6, but the more constellations, the better. Cyno actually does do decently well with Furina as well. Her skill and buffs last a very long time, but also Nahida is really nice for aggravate Cyno, but then also with Furina, you need a good healer. So if you're good at math, you may already realize we're at 5 characters. We could go Baiju, he is Dendro, would allow the aggravate to work, and then we could still have Fischl in there, but for this team, it is generally a choice between Fischl and Nahida. Since I haven't used Cyno in a long time, we're gonna keep it a little bit simpler and actually swap out Fischl for Nahida here. Just make sure we're actually triggering the aggravates with Cyno and not Fischl. We also got Dendro Res, which is really nice for this team, gives us some extra elemental mastery. And in this team, of course, we're gonna give Cyno his signature, Staff of Scarlet Sands. As for how to build him, he needs actually a lot of stats. He gets some good bonuses from elemental mastery, both from his passive and from his signature weapon. Gaining bonus attack, literally over 100% of his EM gets turned into attack. Recently, since Furina came around, as far as goblets are concerned, that's gotten a bit more complicated now. It's not always just go element damage bonus on your DPS, because the Electro is the same as Furina's massive damage bonus from her burst. It all gets kind of clumped into one. But to keep it simple, you want to try and balance stats, you know, attack, crit rate, crit damage, EM if they need it, etc. I think Gilded Dreams is a really good artifact set for Cyno, also matches his color scheme. But when we have Furina in our team, it's kind of just like, how can you beat 36 crit rate? It might be a little overkill in Cyno's case because he's already getting 44 crit rate from Staff of Scarlet Sands, which means we need to do everything in our power to avoid crit rate. This crit damage circlet doesn't have any. It has a lot of EM and attack, which is fine. I haven't raised any EM Sands, although EM versus attack in this case, I'm actually not sure. I would imagine with his signature weapon, it's always better to go EM. 136% of his EM gets turned into attack. Maxed out EM Sands has 187, so that's not only the 187 element mastery, which will of course boost his aggravate damage and his passives and everything, but it's also an extra 254 attack. 46.6% of his base attack is only around 400 attack. So actually, having done the math, it's very obvious we want an element mastery Sands. All of my EM Sands are pretty bad. Here's one that has crit damage on it at least. I usually would be happy to see a crit rate there, but we don't actually need it at all. Crit damage got bumped. Sadly, the rest of the rolls went pretty bad as well. Found a Hunter Electro Goblet with crit damage and EM, so we're probably just gonna go off-piece Sands actually. Let's hope for the best. Straight shot it all the way to 20. Here we go. Oh no. I mean, look at that, man. Do I even have to say anything? Just look at it. This is actually looking pretty good in comparison, so we're gonna give him this. We've been having pretty shit luck, so how about you just avoid the flat attack down there and we'll call it even. Here we go. Oh, it did. Okay, we got some more attack, which is not as good, but whatever, we'll take it. 4 subs, EM and crit damage. We'll try this one if there's nothing else. Oh, crit damage, attack, EM, okay. If it could just mostly avoid death there, that would actually be insane. All right, here we go. Triple Hunter Goblets for good luck. 17.5 def. 17.5 def. Thank you. Not a single crit damage roll. Last one. This one has crit damage into EM, but 2 bad stats. I'm really trying here, but you guys see what's going on, right? Maybe we just gotta raise it slowly. Crit damage? EM? Let's go. Ah, there goes the flat attack. Still would be better than any of the others so far, I think. Oh, EM again at 16. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're probably just gonna take this, honestly, regardless what happens. Okay, I'll take another EM, honestly. That's fine. Thank you. Only rolled into flat attack once. So we got a little over a 90% crit rate with the stacks, 197 crit damage, 1800 attack. I'm actually surprised it's still a decent amount of attack there. 477 EM. So he should be popping off lots of EM, which means lots of attack. So I'd say he's definitely pretty solid right now. I do kind of want to see if Liam has respawned and see if we can one cycle him. I have a feeling it will be a lot closer because he takes a lot of extra damage from aggravate. Ah, yes, Liam is back. This will probably be like Cyno in his best light because he's also more suited to single target, though he does have a bit of AoE. He noticed me. All right, here we go. So we're going to start with that, and then we got to wait for those little QTE things. Let me see. There. Next one. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good so far. Oh yeah, dude, we totally just one cycled him. It is a little unfair in this case because Cyno's burst lasts so long. I wasn't really looking at numbers, mainly just looking out for the little QTE where you have to press E when the thing pops up. But I will show some probably slowed down footage here if there were some like good numbers or good chunks of damage coming off. Though I don't think we'll see any like single instances of big damage from Cyno. He's more about like spread over a bunch of small numbers, especially in this team. But let's see how Rocky up here goes. The same HP, everything, but he doesn't have that same weakness to aggravate. So pretty much same rotation, same everything. All right, here we go. The rotation has officially started. Cyno is out on the field. I did that too early. Okay, now it's my fault. I'm messing everything up. All right, there we go. Actually, damn, look at him. He's still like, even though I messed up and now Cyno's dead, that's actually really quite good. I mean, of course, like Furina and stuff is pulling a lot of weight here. I ran into all three of those, insane. But like I said in the beginning, this is like one of his specifically really good teams and one he works well in. I'm not actually gonna run through Abyss right now, but for floor 12, second half, he'd be amazing. He'd be basically perfect for this. 3 single target bosses, none of them resistant to Electro. In fact, one pretty weak to Electro. I do wanna actually check out what stats we have in the middle of battle. That's always a little bit annoying, but we're gonna try our best. I know we need to do 3 elemental skills before we have all buffs, so we gotta be kind of fast here. I'm really not sure if we have all buffs currently. We have 877 EM, 90 crit rate, 197 crit damage, 2400 attack. That's probably about right with the key plus 1000 floating dreams. Also, this time we probably could have beat him if I didn't check there. Like, he has a tiny amount of HP left. Okay, yeah, that was one thing I kind of forgot. You actually can do a E right after going into burst, and by the time the little QTE thing pops up, E will be off cooldown again. All right, last time, last chance, here we go. It's not looking bad. It's not looking bad. Oh, we are. Oh, no. If he wouldn't have killed us, maybe. But honestly, probably not. All the buffs were starting to run out at that point. Was definitely really close. We're going to save Rocky for another day. A team like this would have overall less DPS, but it solves his resistance to interruption issue with Zhongli there. Having teammates that have very long off-field buffs is of course important to combat his other drawback, which is needing to be on the field for a long time at once. But yeah, this actually wasn't really meant to be a showcase or anything, so I'm just gonna wrap it up by saying Cyno can be strong, again, in the right team and circumstances, but he's not one of those must-have units. If you really like him for his design and play style, you can make him work, and he can be strong, especially in Genshin, you know, no PvP, you don't always need to follow the meta. I mean, I most likely wasn't even playing him perfectly or anything either, and we still got some pretty good results, albeit with some of those must-have units like Nahida and Furina. So in summary, Cyno is not actually a bad character, but there are quote-unquote better / more important characters you should be spending your Primo Gems on if you want to be as strong as possible. As for Ayato, I'm gonna keep this short. Nuvalet. Ayato can fit in a lot of teams, but they're generally not like super good teams. There is an Ayato soup team, which is pretty funny, which is basically just throwing all reactions you can at once. So you got Benny Jean, Sunfire, you have Fischl throwing her things in, then Ayato, you know, slashing away with his Hydro. Basically one giant mess. I think that's probably the most promising team, though we also have like Ayato National, but yeah, just wait for Nuvalet to come back, honestly. As for the weapon banner, Staff of the Scarlet Sands is a very, very good weapon. I've heard it's not only best in slot for Shanling, but Hu Tao as well, which was surprising to me. Haran, on the other hand, is a little niche. I mean, of course, good for Ayato. Other than that, it mainly just boosts normal attack damage. But yeah, I would say if you really just want to summon, I would try and get a Staff of Scarlet Sands, I suppose, but that's about it. But I suppose that'll pretty much do it. Make sure to tell me what you think about the banner, Cyno, Ayato, whatever, in the comments down below. Dropping a like or subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.